ending this! This is the end.
Alright everyone, JB here. We're back with another Dragon Ball Z video on the channel today. Now today, gonna be going over the best teams and equips for LF Android 13. Now, obviously I'm a bit late to this. He came out last week. I wanted to get this video out last weekend. Unfortunately, you know, life, it happens. Life, just stuff got pretty overwhelming for me, especially with work that I work at outside of YouTube. So, you know, it happens. I do apologize for that though. I was really hoping to get that out on Sunday for you guys, but at the very least, we're here, right? Better than nothing. So with that being said though, if you're new around here, consider leaving a like on the video and join the channel. It's very much appreciated. Now, before we hop into, you know, like the base core teams, I only have a couple teams I want to mention for you guys, and maybe some substitutions of certain characters if you don't have certain characters. What does this guy do? What is his main gimmick, right? So after playing with him, you know, in PvP, a couple matches and everything for a while, obviously he's a support type. Now the way this guy seems to me is he's very dependent on stars. What I mean by that, meaning his stats are pretty lower than what they should be. Now you would say this is all right for 7 stars for a support type. Now this is him with art boost, fully art boosted right here at 7 stars. These are his stats right now. So he's very dependent. What does that mean? You're gonna need stars for him to not die so fast or for him to do decent damage. Now keep in mind, this guy does a lot of things. He's restoring health to himself, to his allies. He can stat damage on these cards, which is nice, right? He has a lot of other gimmicks, but the main thing for him is if you're gonna run into any type of Goku character, he's gonna form like Hall of Fame type level right here. Right here on the blue card, same thing, goes up to 90%. I'm not gonna go over his whole kit. I'm just saying, you know, just trying to get some things out for you guys. But against Goku or Super Saiyans, because it also has that in his kit, he's gonna perform well. He's getting a lot of different support buffs, damage buffs to allies. He's restoring HP to allies, and whenever I believe whenever you fill up his unique gauge, he gives cards and some health and damage. Yep, right here. So yeah, he's giving cards, he's giving you everything essentially. So if you have someone that doesn't get cards or key on entry on the battlefield, he's basically giving them that and a damage boost. And on top of that 30%, right, he's also giving them a 20% damage boost, uncancelable. Now this is all before he transforms. He transforms, he does get a couple other things, but essentially this guy is a really good support, and he's giving out a bunch of he also has some disrupt effects, but like I said, we're not gonna get into all that. We're gonna hop into the first set of teams, so I'll see you guys there. Okay, so we're here with his first team that I really believe is one of his better teams, maybe his best team. Now, androids. This one is going to be very blast orientated. Now, like I said, you know, at the beginning of the video with his stats and everything, obviously they're a little bit lower, but you can build this guy either melee or blast orientated. I liked it that they did that with his stats. So you can kind of put him on a team if you want to make a melee or blast orientated. Now, obviously we have the Yamas here. I haven't fully upgraded their new Play equip, but they have 2 Play equips now. So you pair that up with his support, they're going to be doing some solid numbers now. Now this cell right here is an example for Ultra Cell, because I don't have him, so we're going to use him as an example right here. And obviously we have him, he's going to be our main support person. Now this is your core team, the bench. We're going to be giving Zenkai buffs to both the Yamas and Ultra Perfect Form Cell with these guys right here. And what this guy does, I'm using him on this team setup mainly just for the Z ability. He's giving up to 38%. That's almost 40% blast attack and defense. So always nice to see that. This guy, like I said, he's going to be buffing the Yamas on the bench. He's also going to be giving us some strike attack just because, right? Same thing with him. He's giving us blast attack. Now, do you have to use these exact, you know, characters and all that of the whatnot? You don't have to. If you wanted to, right? If you want to give, let's say, Andrew 13 a Zenkai buff instead, and you don't want to run the Z ability for the guy I have right there, click on blue right here. An option would be this Broly, because he does buff solid from the movies and powerful opponent. So he's another option. This is a solid option right here. Or let's say you don't want to give, a Zenkai buff to Andrew 13, which obviously wouldn't make any sense. You want to give it to him, but say you want HP, right? So if you hop over here, I believe androids do have an HP buffer. I just don't remember who exactly it is, but I'm 100% sure that it's this cell right here. So we go right here, yeah. And then this guy, I don't have a Zenkai, but he's another option as well for a Zenkai buffer. You can do this. Now the main core team that I had obviously was the one that I showed you guys at first, but I'm just showing you guys some substitutions on the bench if you want to run an HP buffer and then run a Zenkai, Zenkai buffers for these two guys. And since it would be mainly blast orientated, you can swap this guy out as well, but it doesn't matter because all top 3 of these guys up here, their stats are built on where you can build them either strike or blast orientated. So, just kind of keep that in mind. You don't have to build them fully strike, but if you want fully blast, like I said, there's other options out there for androids. Because I believe, I don't know if he's on here or not, but we're not going to spend too much time trying to search for him. I might not have the character, but in terms of equips, I'm not going to go over the equips for all the other characters, simply because we're just keeping it strictly towards this unit, right? Obviously, he's a support type. Now on this setup, there's a couple options you can do. Now if you want to give him more of a tanky role, obviously he can do damage and everything depending on the situation. I gave him this, give him a bunch of key recovery and health, and then we're gonna give him a little bit of a mix right here, blast attack, strike attack, so that way he's not doing necessarily no damage. He's getting more HP right here, he's getting more base blast, and he's also getting pure to the on strike and blast attack. Now this is an option. This is an in-between build that I wanted to build for him on this setup, where you're essentially getting a bunch of health and you're still getting some solid amount of offense. Now let's say, like I said, you want to build him extremely just sort of tanky, right? Now you go down here, they have a new awakening equipped right here. This one I like it's not bad. You get up to 30% either strike or blast. You're gonna get double defenses, strike and blast defense, and you're also gonna get pure defense up to 10% for both of them. So this one would be an option you could run alongside the support right there. And this is assuming you want him just to be there for the tank role. He also does revive into, his transformed state. And another option is you can also give him one of these cell. But the only thing I hate about this is the ultimate damage, since he doesn't have an ultimate. So I like this one a bit better, giving him double defenses, and then you're gonna get some health and some more special move damage. And keep in mind, if you're going against Goku, he already gets like 90% special move damage done to Goku characters. So keep that in mind. That's going to put him over 100. I'm pretty sure the limit is 100, but if it does go over 100, that's a lot of damage, right? So essentially that would be something I would do. Bunch of HP. You're getting a little bit of defense also as well in between, so not too bad. Now there's also another one, like you want to build a full offensive one, so you still can use this Turles equip as well. Only thing I kind of hate about this is this guy doesn't have too many options when it comes to equips, but this is another option as well. This is giving them some just offenses. These are just like regular equips. If you don't have any of these like plats or awakening equips, this one is another one as well. You can't go wrong with it. You can't. Another pure equip, you can run this right here, the Shenron equip. As long as you're running with a range style, a type of character, this should be I believe 12% to pure blast attack, and then you're getting 10% HP. Now these are just alternatives, right? But like I said, what I had at first is kind of what I was going for this build. But yeah, Full offensive wise, you can do that. You can do pretty much some of the same equips I kind of had. Got that one right there. And then you can run this one just in case you want a little bit more defense, but you also get up to 30% blast attack. So not too bad. Or like I said, you can run one of these Android 16 equips, giving you both offenses, and it's a special move. This one, same thing, you know, you're just getting defense instead. So that's pretty much it for this one for the Androids. You know, this is a build I wouldn't mind running. You know, now obviously the ability bonus is a bit lower, obviously because everyone doesn't have the equipment on, and then it's not the actual ultra cell. But this is optional. You know, you can do this, or you can do what I did for the first, you know, team that I showed at the beginning of the video. Just keep in mind that the ultra cell, perform cell, he does have his ultra ability is androids wise, so you want to keep your bench android as, you know, have as many androids on the bench as possible. So yeah, with that being said, you know, enough yapping. I did enough yapping as it is. Let's move on to the next team. Okay, ladies and gents, so we are here with a powerful opponent based team. Now we're gonna get ready to go over all this for you guys. Now we do have a filler character in again. This Frieza he's gonna be representing our full power Ultra Frieza. Since I don't have him, your boy got shafted on the banner. Sucks, but yeah. So he's gonna be a filler character. Obviously, you know, we have Cooler because the original Ultra Frieza is green. So in terms of the team, right? This team is a bit of a mix and match. So in between Strike and Blast, because the Frieza is pretty heavily range orientated, and the same thing goes for this Cooler. He is very strike orientated. You can see the difference right there between the strike attack and the blast attack. Now, the good thing for us is Android 13. The guy is pretty much neutral. He's in between the two because his stats are pretty close. So we're gonna talk about the bench now. In terms of the bench, we have this Cooler right here. He's gonna be giving the Zenkai buff to our Frieza and also giving us base blast attack and defense. That's good for him. He's giving blast attack. Same thing right here. Broly is gonna be buffing Android 13. He's gonna be giving us strike attack and defense, and also an additional 15% to blast attack for powerful opponent and size from the movies and the whatnot. So that's pretty good for us. And then the same thing goes right here for this Vegeta. I don't have him fully Zenkai, so you know, it's not a team that I'm actually running, but this is a team if you do have him fully Zenkai, you can run this for your bench. Now, this guy is also giving us powerful opponent to strike and blast attack, so both offenses good for us. And he's also buffing our red final form Cooler. Now, in terms of substitutions, right? So let's say, for example, maybe you don't have, I would say, let's say Vegeta or any one of these Zenkais on the bench. You can always replace it with a HP buffer, because HP has become a thing where it's really key in the game. Pretty key. So we're gonna hop over to the streams, and this guy is gonna be one of your HP buffers if you want to run this on this setup, because he does buff starters from the movies. And if you're having Frieza in the leader slot, obviously he's gonna also get this as well. So that's an option. There's one more. I believe there's probably more than two, but he's an option, and I believe Pan is also another option right here. If you have her at 14 stars, she's given the same amount, 20%, and then you know you're getting 20%, but that's for some fam. So you're only using her obviously for just the HP. She's another option as well. Now this applies not just for the Vegeta that I took off, but if you don't have any of the Zenkai buffers on the bench. Now obviously there's other Zenkai buffers you can put in as well if you don't have these guys. Let's say for example for like Cooler, like for red, this guy right here, he's gonna give you, you know, essentially I think it's base strike, just base strike. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that's the only thing that sucks. You know, you're not getting any blast from that, you're just getting base strike, you know, and that's the whole point for Saiyan Starter Vegeta being there, is to use that strike and blast attack. And I think that might be the only other option, because the other ones are, I don't think they're powerful opponent. I think this guy, This guy's another option as well, but he does buff it's lineage evil. Yep. And then this one right here, he is blast orientated, so you know he's another option as well. But I recommend this is like the base that you would probably keep. And if you swap someone out, just swap them out for an HP buffer. And this is something I really like. This setup is nice. Obviously, let's say you don't have Frieza. Now I also don't have this guy, so just gonna use him as an example. But you can use let's go over here really quick. You can swap this guy out for, let's say, maybe metal cooler. I don't officially have him, so your boy just like, you use this guy as an example. He's also an option you can swap out, and then all you have to do is essentially just swap out your bench. So you'll take this guy off, and then you'll go over here and you'll put on this Broly right here for your Zenkai buff. And he's also given strike and blast attack, I believe. So essentially this would be a more of a strike oriented setup now, since the metal cooler, he is very orientated. I don't know why I clicked that off, but he's very strike orientated based on his stats. So this would be a good time to put in Janemba. Those are some substitutions I would make. Now it's a strike orientated setup. Now in terms of equipment, probably the same equipment on this setup. Now on this setup, obviously this guy's going to play the role of tanking the best you can. Now obviously, yeah, metal cooler, he's defense type. Now we're looking at it as in the standpoint where Frieza is here, who I just had right there before. You're going to be essentially, he's still going to be probably in more of a tanking role. You want this guy to take the hits, do all the disrupts and all that stuff. On top of that, he has endurance or revive. He revives into his transformation state. So you can keep it heavily. It's probably going to be around the same, like I said, equipment. This setup is in between a little bit, so you can give him essentially the same stuff. This, that, and then you also have, maybe you want to give him this one right here. It's because it's giving HP as well, and double defense and all the little stuff. This would be something I would run. Just give him just a little bit of attack. You don't want to be super, just like orientated on defense. But if that's you can do that. You can definitely do that. Okay, this one would be a good one to run alongside this. So you're probably going to see around the same equipments for this guy, because he doesn't have a lot of equipments out right now. Just some of the ones that they have, that you have a lot, out for him, they're not that great. You got this one as well, but the stats are pretty low. It's pretty low. This is something you could probably run on androids. I didn't mention this one because I kind of like the other one better, since you're gonna get 10%. Other ones give you more, obviously, right? But you're also getting base defense right here and some base attack. Way better than the other one, since the stats are just lower on that one. But this is something I would run on this setup. Now if you're running him alongside Cooler instead of Frieza, you're gonna go with more of a mix. You want to get some offense, and then, well, I took the other one off, but this one right here, we're just some offense and some defense mixed in with the two. So you can run this as well. Now this one is, what is this? Strike attack? Yep. So you can run something like this. You're getting HP pretty much from 2 equips. You're getting offense. There's nothing more you can ask for. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, guys, because I did pass it up, I believe. This one right here, this is an option as well. Make sure you can run this as well. This is giving 35% to blast, 25 to strike. You're getting 20% defense. And then if you have 3 battle members that are movies from the saga, or sagas from the movies, oh my god, it's pretty early for me, so I apologize if I'm stuttering. This is another solid option. You're getting both base offenses, pure defense to both. If you're running this guy with Cooler, this is gonna be a good example. Same thing with this one. This one is like the opposite, I'm pretty sure. I'm not clicked the wrong one. It's this one. But yeah, this one right here. This one is pretty much the opposite. You're getting base defenses, and then instead you're getting base offenses. So let's say maybe you don't have, I don't know, maybe this equip grinded out yet. You're running him on Silence from the Movies, Powerful Opponent, whichever one you want to call it. Run this clip instead. You know, that's another option. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, this, I probably yapped more than I needed to. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next team really quick. All right, ladies and gents, we are here with pretty much the last team of the video. Now, this is gonna be a Silence from the Movies team. Looks pretty similar to what I was talking about with the previous team, with Cooler being here on the option. So obviously we're using this guy as a replacement for the LF Metal Cooler since I don't have him as well. You know, Shaft has been an ongoing thing on this channel for some reason. Now, before we talk about this team is strike orientated, so you want to keep a strike based type of bench, especially with your Zenkai buffers. Now we have Cell here because he's going to be giving us both strike attack and defense, and he's going to be buffing our Cooler since he buffs Powerful Opponent. Now, can you swap this guy out for the purple, you know, Silence from the Movies Broly? You can do that, yes. The only reason why I did this is because I wanted the defense, you know, and on this setup, your main damage dealer is going to be Cooler, Final Form Cooler, you know, and maybe Android 13, but his stats are pretty low, so it might also be Metal Cooler who's going to be your secondary damage dealer. But you want to give everyone essentially a Zenkai buff, so that way they can all be doing some decent damage. You know the gimmick with this guy's going to be buffing our Android 13. We brought Tapion on here, you know, just because he's giving defense. So you have him at 14 stars. It's only 28% though. So if you want a bigger buff, you know, like I said, there's options. You can definitely throw Janemba on there, just you won't get any defense. Or like I said, from the previous team, you can throw Vegeta on there as well. Only difference is you're not going to get any defense. So yeah, but you definitely want to make sure Final Form Cooler is getting the buff, because besides the support he's getting from Android 13, he's going to also need a Zenkai buffer, because let's be honest, before we got, you know, the new LF and all that, Final Form Cooler was looking like one of those just LF Zenkais that they just somehow did not get right. But yeah, so on this setup, right, like I said, this guy, you want to give him a mitts because you want him to be able to take a hit, and you also want him to do a little bit of damage. So you have him on a higher star, you know, side. That's good for you. But like I said, not many equips for this was another equip that I wanted to mention that I did not mention earlier. We're gonna talk about this. I forgot that they did release this one as well, but it's a bunch of the same equips pretty much. You know, if you want a decent amount of base and you want some defense as well, so that way he's not, you would rather probably give him HP, but you know, you can never go wrong with defense. But yeah, essentially you'll be giving them something like that. I believe this one is the pure to both. So this one is a pure to both offenses, and you're gonna get double defense on that one. And then same thing, you can run this one. You know, that's always a good option. Just a whole bunch of HP and key recovery of the whatnots. Like I said, I mentioned this one already plenty of times. These are solid options. And if you just want more offense, then yeah, you can pretty much just run this one. This is another option as well. You know, it's gonna give you pure defense instead, you know, which is nice. Basically it works because you can't, like, they made it feels limited on how because they made some of these limited where you don't have many equips for them. I'm pretty sure they're gonna release another one pretty soon. They might have a new one coming out, I'm pretty sure, for the co-op. I didn't even check that, but I'm pretty sure the co-op equip is this one. Yeah, because I did grind this one from that. So that's essentially what you were trying to do with your build, you know, because it works 2 and 2 in tandem. So you're getting special move damage, you're going to get double defense on here and double, you know, pure offense. You got a base right here that's giving you double offense and some defense. So it works, you know, like 1 and 2 together. Same thing right here, you're getting base defense, you're getting double, you know, base offense, and you're gonna get some pure defense. So that way this guy can feel a little tanky, even if you have him on the lower side of the stars. Now, an option for a substitute. So, all that I hate about this guy is he's very limited to certain teams. Now, you can put older characters on some of these teams, and they might just work out just because of his support. But I'm just trying to keep it where these are teams that are going to be, not just teams you just put together and hop into PvP. These are teams that you're going to put together and they have a chance against these just cracked up ultras, man. So yeah, Gammas 1 and 2 are going to be your substitute if you don't have Metal Cooler, or let's say it's the other way around. You don't have Final Form Cooler and you have Metal Cooler and you have the Gammas. You can run this instead, and you can still build this a strike oriented team because these guys can be strike, they can be strike oriented build. But you do want to include at least a little bit of blast attack. So if you want to run, so if we go over here, a Zenkai buff for them, I believe they only have like 2, maybe 3. Pretty sure this guy's 1. You can run him as well. This guy is another one as well, because I think he buffs Sados movies, right? Yeah, but he only buffs Saiyan, so you don't want to run him on your bench. Obviously, your only option really probably would be this guy right here, because I'm pretty sure he buffs androids, and then he buffs androids attack regeneration. So how would you do this? Go about this. Take these guys. You take Cooler right there, around slot. You put them right there, and then now you're going to put Cooler in your leader slot, since he's not an android. And there you go. And then you also go right here, and you would pretty much just put whoever you want for your, for him to be a Zenkai buff. This is what I probably would do. If you just want strike and blast attack, you can do this right here. This is an option. Wouldn't mind this going into PvP, because obviously on this setup now, this guy is going to be, you could probably keep the same equips, because there's nothing wrong with the ones I mentioned. But if you just want more HP and you're not running the HP buffer, this is an option. You can run that. A lot of these are going to be the same equips. I mean, as many times as I'm going to say it, it's the truth. This guy is limited on equipment, at least on the good equipment, and you have to have certain characters to run with. But on the bright side, you can run that. You can also run this if you want this for your, your attack, because now you have that. And essentially, you can pretty much run, I believe this one too, right? Yeah, this one is limited to tag androids. So this will probably be something I would run, since this is also giving us some defense, base and pure. This one is giving us offense, some base, and some health. And then this one just giving us a whole bunch of just health. So that's what I would do. Normally, if I were to sit here and go over each one of these guys and what you should build for them, it would be a very long video, and I don't want that. So I kept it limited to this guy for you guys. And yeah, essentially that's pretty much the end of the video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful in some way. With that being said though, as always, everyone have a blessed day. It's your boy JB. I'm out.